Hello, hello. Welcome to the Toy Armada Friday Night Live. I am Aaron Archer. I am celebrating my 30th year in the toy game, I realize, this year. Early January will be my 30th anniversary where I started with Hasbro. I did a little bit of toys before that, but that is my story. I worked on Transformers, G.I. Joe, Batman, Aliens Resurrection, and a bunch of cool stuff. We talk about toys. A lot of Transformers talk, and I like to talk about the what-fors and the behind-the-scenes stuff of why things happen in the toy industry, not so much what the toys are. And that's what we're doing tonight. I am going to talk about Red Alert a little bit with the news that he is being remade, and talk a little bit about that guy and his history and what I think of the new one and the stuff that's going on overall. So with that, you can check out my socials up there and learn more about me if you're first time here. So we got a good crew going already. How's it going? El Kevo, Ninjatron, Arshay, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Patrick, how you doing? Sabine, how is everybody doing? Yeah, 30 years, I know, right? And I started young. I started real young. I was 22 when I got that job at Hasbro. Newly 22. So, yeah, it's been a minute. And we got Little Tree 666. How's it going? Hope you all had a good week. I've had a busy week. Doing a lot of commissions, so that is good. I always like to stay busy, and getting ready for a little show at Rick's comic book toy store in Massachusetts tomorrow, or Sunday. And I've been working on this painting off and on too. Those of you who follow the Instagram have probably seen that by now. So, I thought we'd talk a little bit about Red Alert here that was announced. So, I am the designer of record on Red Alert with Armada. I'm going to consult the book here a few times today. I want to know... I think the designer at Takara was, I'd like to say it was Kunihiro-san, but I'm not entirely sure, unfortunately. Which is incredibly unfortunate. But early days, this is the earliest you're going to find of Red Alert. I was designing heads before I even knew what I was doing. So that head right there on the end, if you can see that, is pretty much the model that he came in. They don't have the toy images in this book, so I can't get the designer's name off the toy images, unfortunately. Yeah, this is the Micron Legend yearbook. So back in the day, I think they still do this to some degree. They used to be called Perfect Guides and yearbooks, and I'm sure there's a host of other names that would cover a series. So this covers every episode within the series, so it has a lot of animation information. And then towards the back, it would have a lot of the toy information, and then in the way back you get the animation models, the kind of black and white. And then if you really get a book, you get an interview with Mr. Archer. So yeah, that came out a long time ago. And that probably represents the best work I did in toys in some degree. So it's really cool to have a Japanese book of that. Hey, T Farmers 2002. No, you haven't missed too much. Hey, Larry. Yeah, right. I am 29. So yeah, this is a good book. I have a couple copies of this. I've actually put 2 aside for my kids just to have a record of crap their dad did. And then, if they even care, and then there's this book that had some animation, mostly animation reference in there. So back in Armada, let me see here. There we go. Back in the Armada days, the goal was to have this. This was our first. I think he was aligned with Scavenger, right? And Starscream as a price point. So he had a little bit of electronics in him. If when you fire the disc out of his car front or chest. We're going for a lot of features still in these early waves of Armada. So he has the leg medical bed that minicons can get fixed on, and that's why he's got the different tools for his hand. The idea is that he's literally out there patching things together. Those door shoulders are kind of interesting, although they're pretty big and unsightly, and they often go missing, I believe. Yeah, and he had the light-up cannon up top, too. And his minicon feature is that he had a big flip-out cannon that went over his shoulder. Oh, man, Larry, you were close. You were close. You were, depending on where in Boston you were 50 minutes away, maybe? Could have met you in the middle. Could have had some Dunkin' Donuts. So this was obviously based on an off-road kind of vehicle. I don't know if it was inspired by a real vehicle as much as at that time I really leaned into looking for concept cars as my inspiration versus I knew I couldn't do licensed vehicles. So the next best thing is I was looking at different corporate concept vehicles. And I think there was some sort of Isuzu or something that had a lot of all this extra flair on the rims and the gating on the front and extra, what looked like extra padding on the sides. So he was the medic. I don't remember his personality much in the show. This guy kind of came and went as far as importance. I don't know why that is. He just kind of didn't seem important to us for some reason, as much as like Hotshot and other guys did. But if you have the one with the red cross on it, that is the first wave one that we had to change, because obviously the Red Cross is an icon that's belonged to the Red Cross, not Hasbro. So we started making alternate versions with the Autobot logo in the middle, and sometimes you see a white square in the middle. That was for other brands did that at Hasbro. So we wanted a big bulky thing. We wanted it to be kind of tough looking, the same way Ironhide and Energon kind of represented that. It was always good to have a big kind of off-road truck kind of vibe. And then I like that juxtaposition of the ambulance and off-roadness, versus having a big box ambulance, which is not as, interesting over time. I mean, that's why Ratchet in the movies has a lot of extras to make him not a big box. Maybe he doesn't have a personality, right? That makes sense. So that was the toy. Minicon, long arm, pretty cool. Not a lot of articulation there, but all right to get that kind of crane in there. You never see the crane extended Never see the crane extended. Always drives me crazy. And then his inspiration on my end, we kind of make fun of it, there's a bit of RoboCop in there, and a little bit of the blue, and then the eyes. It's just an influence versus trying to copy, if you know what I mean. And then that's him in animation. They cleaned him up a little bit, gave him more of a proper shoulders. He's got great legs. I like those legs. He's got a little bit of a backpack on him, but a lot of the Armada stuff is going to have backpacks because of the features. You all know that at this point. And then, of course, he was redecoed in product as well as the show. Didn't change his name, I believe. And this started another kind of tradition of redecoing things with a themed redeco. That is to say, Arctic or woodland park ranger. We started putting those little symbols on with mountains and different things. Some of that was being formulated here in those early days. So this would have been a character designed right along with Wave 1. All the classic Starscream, Hotshot, Jetfire, Optimus, Demolisher, Cyclonus, that, and Smokescreen pulling in the rear. So he was definitely early days. I was still learning, still having fun. I think you can see with his head that I was trying to put, just like Hotshot looks like a race car. He's got a race car helmet. He's got the harness on his belt. I wanted Red Alert to be like emergency and kind of, so he's got the, siren side domes going on. So he kind of looks like a emergency guy. Smokescreen kind of has a construction helmet vibe a little bit. So this was the days where I was doing more of that. So that's kind of early days. So he got his toy. I don't know how long he continued in the normal colors. Takara did do some PVC versions of him, obviously. This is the only one I have. I don't have the other minifigure type non-transforming stuff that Takara did for convenience stores. But I think he holds up. He's a pretty decent character, I think. He doesn't have a lot of personality again, so he kind of was easy to write off in a way. I think over time we did do it. We did do him again in Cybertron as kind of a station wagon version. A little smaller, kept his head closer than some. So Red Alert in the Armada veneer kind of has lived on here and there a little bit, but it is good to see. Good to see him back. This illustration is really nice. Again, he's got great legs. Kind of clean in that regard compared to some types of robots. So it's cool to see him back. Not sure he's in my top lists, but you always have to consider they have needs and they know what the redeco options are and retooling options are and the different form factors that they do or don't have and or need. So this must make sense a couple different ways, right? I just pulled this off the interwebs. So kind of shows them in the box. Still, I guess we're packed out in robot mode forever at this point. Pretty cool. They got the swap out tools. Like, that was our idea of a medical kit. I'm not so sure that was successfully transplanted into the show or product, but those swap out hand ray guns or laser scalpels things that you could put into his hand there. Our idea was that was storytelling to bring his character to life. Yeah, he's not bad, but he's not striking either. That front hood, being the chest is kind of cool, but it's also, I'm an early vehicle designer at this point. We could have done a lot more subtlety. And again, we're going back 20 years plus years at this point, so we have continued to elevate the game over the years. Alternators came in and other things, the movie. So detail on vehicles only stepped up from here. But I do respect that they are following what was. So that's what I got to say about Red Alert tonight. I was having some fun drawing on one way to put the cards out. I kind of remarked the board there. I put them on. So I had drawn Red Alert this week, surprisingly enough. And hold this one forward so you can check this again out on my social medias. But this is pretty close to being done. If you really want to know what's going on, let's see here. I don't even know if this will work. Probably not. But, this lightning bolt here glows in the dark and stuff at this point. All the city down here glows. So maybe at the end, remind me at the end, and we'll power this thing up. Or actually, I'll go power it up now, and just remind me. All right. Welcome to my madness. All right, so we'll power that up, and we'll see if the glow in the dark is working at the end. Just somebody's got to remind me, okay? So, got the sketchbooks on the website, volume 2 and 3. If you're interested in the art that you see on the social media, check that out. And we'll look at some of the new art in a bit too. I've been doing all kinds of weird things. Been drawing on these insert cards. Having fun with it. Drawing on the big paper all the time. Just can get monotonous even though you like to draw them. So I was trying some different stuff. Yeah. Ninjatron, I used to want to be done with my art as fast as possible. It's safe to say, like move on to the next thing and scribble. And during the big V, I learned to, because I had nowhere else to go. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit here and put another 3 hours into it tonight. Yeah, I think it's done, but what another 3 hours? And then the next day, oh, maybe I'll put another hour into it. Wow, and then I worked on this piece for another 16 hours, I think. It was like 2 weeks, to prove to myself, oh, you can just keep going and going and going on a detail thing like that. All these kind of have like this infinite detail if you really hone in on it. And a lot of layers, a lot of layers. So I never know when I'm done, or I find something that's not rendered to my liking. Something can push or pull, pop or drop better. But I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I like making this stuff anyway. So yeah, I have a lot of weird paintings and whatnot that I just haven't really even shown people. Unless you're following me on the social media, I haven't, in some cases, haven't taken them out of the house. Oh yeah, that Dragon and Primal art went out. Looked pretty good. I was having fun drawing that Primal, both Optimal Optimus and Optimus Primal. Yeah, I don't have glow. I have blacklight paint on the Unicron. I don't have glow in the dark paint. Glow in the dark paint sucks because it's kind of real thin. You got to do a lot of layers to get proper glow if you're not mixing it into paint, which I don't do. So it's like for me, it's like a medium where I'm putting it on after the fact. Yeah, I mean Ninjatron. I mean, yeah, I used to keep sketchbooks. I mean, I still do, but I haven't really used it lately. Where is it? Oh, here's the bookshelf. All right, so this is volume 107, and I can flip through most of this. But like, you know, I would do fun stuff, but then they're locked in a sketchbook in a way. You know, fun paintings. I use this paper that you can practically do spray paint on. It doesn't bleed, which is kind of fun. It's a weird robot painting I was thinking about doing. But like, you put too much time in some of this stuff, you know, it doesn't go anywhere. It's trapped in the book. So I started painting more so I could have tangible stuff to show people and share with people and whatnot. There's my comic book character. So when I went to bigger things, I could just keep going, you know, because there's a point where if I could keep going on this, it's just not productive, I guess is the way I should say it. Yeah, check that guy out. Well, Thunderclash Action, I think that was his name. Yeah. Funny. So, if you're a younger artist, or any artist, you should keep a sketchbook, or at least keep your hand busy. I used to advocate for a proper sketchbook like that, and I think at this point, just make art. Just make art. Whether it's in a book, or a pile of loose paper, or formal, informal, messy, or, you know, tight. Just make art. Make art. Sean, Aaron, I think we all know what Armada figures you'd want Generations to do next. But what about an Energon figure you'd want a modern take on? Well, I often say Scorponok on that one. You know, the thing that stinks about Energon, as far as we were talking about the yearbooks, is there isn't really any good Energon guides of any kind. They didn't get the yearbook treatment. There wasn't a lot of kid, you know, whatever this style of book is, kind of overview animation, kid. You know, it's just the fun of the property. It comes with some stickers, big art. You know, they never did any of that for Energon. So I don't have, much like you guys, I would assume, a ready-made place to flip through and check everything out at once. which is unfortunate. So when I think of Energon, I get lost. I often think of Cybertron characters, or I think some Energon characters were in Cybertron, because the Energon content is pretty loose out there. I do like the Terracons. I'm very proud of the work we did on those. This starts the development where Eric and I were probably touching every figure a little bit at different times. I'd do a sketch and throw it over the wall to him, or he'd do a sketch and I'd punch up the silhouette in different ways, or ask him to punch it up, or I'd circle one of the 3 heads he drew, so we were going back and forth. But I do like the Terracons and the Omnibots, for that matter. I like that we did a kicker. I know it's not the best toy, but that was fun to do. As far as remakes go, a really cool kicker would be cool, but I don't think that's really high demand at all, at a 6-inch scale or something. But Scorponok, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if we really need a new Slug Slinger or Sharkticon. The ones that existed were great. A lot of those characters suffer from their combo gimmick, so they have those issues. How would you remake them without the combo gimmick? I guess you could. It'd be fine. The designs are nice in that regard. I do like Mirage. That's my favorite boat, I think we did. Tidal Wave, I guess, is probably better, but I think of him as a battleship or spaceship. But that would probably be my Energon answers. I hope that's good enough. Got the big cat in here tonight. Yeah, Energon was hard to reproduce because of that combo gimmick, which I don't, you won't hear me apologize for that. Not that I need to, but I wish it worked out better. I wish it was somehow more organic into the show, like more often, and made sense. We came up with a toy feature before we understood enough about how that would affect story, and good or bad, or how to do it in story. I think we could have, if you can't fix it, feature it, could have really made a big deal about the combos in even a better way. But, it is what it is. But some of those characters are fun. Absolutely. The Rodimus is great. All right. I got a gimmick idea. If we ever get a Commander Energon Prime, kicker should absolutely come with it. Yeah, that'd be all right. That would make sense. Commander Energon Prime. That's one where, honestly, I've said this a few times. If they could bring better feature play, more fun to the just general concept of Optimus combining with 4 parts in different ways to have different limb options, but in a with a different set of goals, make all those elements really cool. Maybe he doesn't have to be Sumo Prime, Fatimus Prime, and he could be reinvented. One thing that I will say with all the Unicron trilogy guys that have been remade, they're following the animation, and that's great. But they could also take a little more liberty and say, well, if the designers back then had different goals, but were still in that zone of designing, what would they make? And you could open it up a little bit to make a better toy. That's all I'm saying. Also, do you make appearances at Comic-Cons? I don't. I don't. I usually do some Transformer shows. I used to do some local shows in Ohio. But no, I don't do too many shows. I'm trying to promote myself here on a show every Friday, and on my Instagram, particularly Aaron Archer Official. Always have an art show going. Stores open every day, all day. So unfortunately, I don't get to the Comic Cons. Maybe though. I went for like 15 out of 16 years at one point. So I'm not missing Comic Con either. To be perfectly frank. Hey, Yang Kang Ma, how are you? Am I saying that right? Loving the Missing Link Sunstreaker order too. Yeah, those are cool. Now with elbows, although the police, the Japanese police car guy, I don't know his name, but that's pretty cool to have a new option for the shelf is great, especially for you guys, right? So I'm those were cool to see, and I love that they pose like the old illustrations. That's I mean, if you're gonna do stuff like this and try to be nostalgic and add this value to it, just go deeper, and that's pretty cool. That's what they did. Can I ask if you had to suggest a thematic gimmick or for either TFO robots, the toy line, what would they be just for fun? Either Transformers 1 or what's RO? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Sorry. Yeah, animated proportions and stylization was something I dealt with all three of those shows clearly. And Energon was the one where they scan the toys pretty much. And I struggle with that because they're limited by the articulation, and you see the screw bosses and the wall thicknesses and stuff, and it's just they look like the little toys running around. They don't look like big robots that we made the best toys we could of them. So Energon freaks me out a little bit that way. Cybertron's a little bit better. Combiner Wars Optimus, sort of loosely homaged Energon Optimus. Yeah. Actually, when you say Energon, if I always bring up Bulkhead, the helicopter, or what's his name? What is his name? Why am I blanking? Landmine. If you could remake one of those, it'd be cool. You could reissue that today, and it would still be an awesome toy, as it was. Those would be two also that I would add on. Cordone. Yeah. I don't know where that guy comes from, but look cool. Oh, no problem. Yeah. Yeah, so Energon is something that I need to go deeper into, because there is a lot there, and there were a lot of products. I'm curious, did anybody here were of the age where you like to do the combining, and had a bunch of deluxes and did a lot of different options with them? I'm curious. I know a lot of people buy two Rodimuses and just combine the two Rodimuses and have like a super Rodimus, which is kind of funny. Makes sense to me. I always liked the news media van that we did. What was his name? Because we echoed the old Ironhide vibe, with the two pieces that, the bottom that folded out. And we had a little bit of fun with that one for sure. It's a weird, certainly the weirdest one of the combos for the Autobots, but nevertheless, I'm always going to go for the product that stands out from the others. I'm glad we did it, so that you could have at least one very unique flavor. What was that guy's name? Again, there's no book to flip through in order to make that all make sense. So we're half hour in here. You want to look at a few art pieces. Haven't even put these up yet, and somebody already snagged the kicker. So there's Rodimus. Just speaking of. Prowl's got kind of a strange head for the rest of the line, but nice head, but he's got that big face. I don't think this is the best upgrade to the first Armada Hotshot that we could have done, but it is what it is. This is the one I finished today, so no one has seen that one yet. And then a couple others that I haven't shown. Kind of a concept Megatron. I've got that Thrilling 30 paper. Anything goes with the Thrilling for 30 paper. And what else? I got my big movie Bumblebee. Had fun with the eyes. Everyone talks about the eyes. I had fun with the Farkles, man. The lightning, the fire, the plasma, the glowy eyes. I'm all for it. I like to paint that stuff as much as anything. All right. My one chat is not keeping up, so I'm going to have to... Don't mind me, I'm just reading some of these. Tow line, yeah, thank you. And again, if you're kind of newer here, I did so many and managed so many waves and lines and segments for a good number of years with great partners, internal and external. But I can't possibly remember all the names of all the characters as easily as you guys do. They were part of the rush of getting product done, and then we'd move on, and that was that. What about I got all over me? And then on to the next thing. So I apologize. Sometimes you might wonder, why doesn't he remember the name of that cool thing he designed? Every day was a bunch of cool stuff going on, and the names would change. We'd get working names, or we'd have to use an old name, and things would swap out. So that is why I wouldn't necessarily remember Tow Line. I try to remember I can remember a lot of the detail, character and color, the color of the character and what we try to do with it, but not always their final name. Yeah, the Energon Decepticons were pretty cool for that reason. Starscream was fun. Oh, yeah, I'm working a little bit more on that one. The Optimus, where is it? It's somewhere. I got so many of these things around. There's the Energon Starscream. I don't even know if they're up. Some of these are up in the shop yet. By the way. The Star Convoy was really cool. That's a good announcement. That's one I stayed away from during my time, Interesting that he's the 13th now. I guess that makes sense from the greater lore, which I was not aware of, to be fair. I was, again, not trying to be the historian or perfect vessel for all history of Transformers. I was more of a catalyst in kind of the whip it into a new shape a little bit during my time. But because Star Convoy's story is what it is, it makes sense that he would be the 13th, and that's a cool design. And I like that they kind of went retro with the product. That feels very, I'm just gonna like Japanesey robot toy. A lot of little bits and bops and things that you put in the thing and then in the thing, and I also don't have a problem with kind of the sci-fi simpleness of the trucks and things. So yeah, I might actually get that Star Convoy because that looks like a Japanese robot, and I'm into Japanese robots, which is a weird thing maybe to hear me say, but I don't consider Transformers always traditional Japanese robots. They have a lot of blended U.S. superhero robot stuff with the Japanese, so they come off a little differently. Gordon was a Diaclone guy. All right, that's cool. Oh, that's even more fun then. So the combo stuff you guys had fun with? Yeah, the storyline of the show, they didn't have enough. They couldn't do all the different combos, and the reasoning for the combos was a little bit lost on them. So it just didn't work. Energon definitely dipped. We assumed a lot in Energon. I think they were good ideas, good efforts, probably the right instincts. We were just hopeful that it would all just keep going well, and didn't realize we should probably made a better plan with our plan. If that, I don't think we did much totally wrong, but we didn't land it perfectly. That's for sure. Which is why you hear me talk about Supercross not being something management wanted to hear, because Energon wasn't quite as good as Armada. It was just trending down, but mostly because of the licensing stuff. But when I started talking about going to multiple universes and picking up old Transformers from all these eras, hey, we're already down. That seems kind of convoluted. It seems like you have to know a lot about Transformers to get that story. How about we do something a little more straightforward? So it all feeds into why these things happen. So I'm glad I got to get that one out. So Proto Man, how are you? Or Transformers Slag Podcast. Check it out tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Like anyone here doesn't also watch the Slag Podcast. Come on. Yeah, Towline was the news media van, and that's what we called it, the media van, and that was fun. Again, if you're going to do a box or a cube, I believe that you wanted to tell a little story with it. So having that antenna and a little ladder and different things, made it, more than just a box truck or a delivery van, or, just kind of not so interesting, right? Yeah, Star Convoy does have a lot of features, but that's his pedigree. They did the pedigree of that product correctly, that's for sure. Yeah, Proto Man and I are trying to figure out what our next one's going to be. Maybe Energon. I don't know. Was wondering, was Masterpiece as a line intended to be a larger scale, and why did that change with Sideswipe? Well, Masterpiece Optimus was its own thing and then became the beginning of the Masterpiece line. Sideswipe, are you talking Alternators Sideswipe? Or... because Takara had the idea that they were almost in the same universe, right? And Optimus had to be bigger. and then some of the, just like Optimus is taller than the Lambos and all that jazz and everybody. So I think they were trying to echo that G1 feel of it all. Oh, Hans, all right. I must have missed him. Sorry. Yeah. I don't know why Red Alert wasn't in Energon. Again, I don't think he popped for us. Like I was trying to say, we didn't dislike him. He wasn't a bad seller. He just didn't pop. So when we were doing Energon, we made some different decisions, and Ironhide came into the mix that way. And then when we needed to go have some Earth characters, we wanted to ground the Earth characters in kind of universal, things, so ambulances. So it made sense to bring them back. And that is kind of how that happened. These things are... It's Toy World logic. It doesn't always really, really make sense. It's just answering questions of the day. Yeah, Towline is not a news van name. I don't know. I wonder how that happened. Yeah, I don't know. Hello, Carnage. How are you? The 13 primes, question mark. I mean, to be fair, the concept didn't fully explored at the time, as far as I'm aware. No, 13 primes were always kind of this mystery, kind of out there in different little bits of bops of the books, comic books, but never fully formed, and what the potential of them were. And I was part of the group that helped figure that out. So it's fun that they're doing these products, and they were well represented in Transformers 1. Interesting. So, I'm proud to have brought some, greater upper story to the Transformers world. Wow. We got some good dialogues going here tonight. Keep skipping up. Yeah, the Slag podcast is a little robot show that goes on Saturdays at 8 o'clock. Most people got stuff to do, but a few people listen. Yeah, essentially Supercross was the multiverse of madness for Transformers back in 2004 or 5 when I would have been working on that. Funny enough, all right, Proto, looks like we're gonna have to do some Energon and some Batman. Is that an orange Death Star trash compactor on your shelf next to the yellow Batmobile? Why, yes it is. Yes it is. Good eye. That is my trove of some of my 70s toys up there. You can see let's see here. We can put some granular to that. So yeah, this, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone not 50 and above, this is the trash compactor from the Death Star playset from Kenner back in the day. You would crank this knob here and it would squeeze the room. It had foam and the monster in there, and they would drop down a chute. I love this just because it is so industrial looking and just so toy-like, I had my Posca pens in here for a while. I was using this as a pen case, but then I thought better of it. This is manufactured in Cincinnati in 1978. So it's also, for me, a memory of some of the guys I worked with, who I often am saddened to say are no longer with us. So that's why it sits on my shelf. I fondly think of those guys. We worked really close with a lot of guys for a lot of years, and it's hard not to always be thinking about them. Oh, here we go. I think I was talking about this nonsense a little while ago. You're not a true Godzilla fan until you got some canned Ghidra and some canned Mothra egg. Quality stuff from Japan. Foodstuffs from 2001. Yeah, can't really. They're taped shut. I'm not going to open them, but they're like keyed, like Spam kind of stuff. Just pulled those down for the novelty of it all. When I used to go to Japan, I'd pick up weird stuff. Weird stuff. Let's see, what else? We got a Big Jim Terax, I think was his name. Got my stuffed animal Godzilla there, and behind him is the Godzilla that like a 12-inch G.I. Joe kind of guy fits into. Like it's the actor in the costume, that kind of thing. And those are all my kaiju vinyl Subies up top, all my Ultraman villains mostly, and weird Godzillas. I don't know if that light actually helps. So, yeah, and I got my staff. This was my mom's staff, so when I'm thinking, that's what I use. My mom's power staff. Man, I am slowly writing my Night Force Ninja thing. I don't even know what to call it at this point. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be more than mini movies or something, a mini movie or a full thought process, creative thing. I don't even know yet. But I've been writing. I have been writing. Did the Megatron Energon jet influence the... they might have had that stuff there. I don't know how much it influenced them. The movie Megatron design was one that always perplexed me because it just didn't always look like it had a front, but it was what it was. Oh, you bought a Death Star for parts last month, Patrick. One of the old Kenner ones. How beat up is the cardboard? Like there, it goes. Is the gun busted? Is the cardboard ripped up? Does it have the ball or the something on a string? And do you have the foam? I guess, but very few people have the foam. Although I have seen more foam recently than usual, and it's the old foam. I know they've remade it as well. Energon Wing Saber, that'd be cool. That's cool in the mobile game. That's fun. Yeah. These kaiju things they're something. What did they cost back in the day? I don't have any price indication here, unfortunately. Might have been like $3. I don't even know if they were very expensive. Very strange. Very strange. But I have I won't call it a Godzilla collection, but I collect Godzilla stuff. Yeah, food from 2001, right? And it's been sitting in my hot office over different years and in hot boxes. You know, maybe we'll open it one day and an actual kaiju will come out. No way around it at this point. Yeah, they're like corned beef and quail eggs. That's right. And one was like a spam. One of them was a spam because look, there's 6 of them. It's not going to focus. So there's 6 of them. There's a couple of Godzilla ones. Rodan. Tastes like chicken. Let's see here. Yeah, eating an opening pack 2001. That yeah, that one's 6. I think that's what it is. Again, I collect this stuff, or I just kind of get this stuff, and I like it for my inspiration. I don't always know. Yeah, I'm not going to eat it. There's no way I'm going to eat that. Will the Night Force Ninja movie based on the Secrets of the Ninja Transformers? Will it be as good as? That's probably impossible. I don't have all the ninja secrets to make it as good as the Secret Ninja Transformers, but that there's a lot of ways to slice it, and that's not far off in a way. Okay, the cardboard was gone. Oh, all right. Well, the foam, you can actually find the foam. It just depends on what people think the value of the foam is, because it breaks upon looking at it. So you can't really use it. You got to keep it in a little bag, and not exposed to air, because at this point, 70s foam just turns into dust. So it's almost fine that you don't have the foam. It's one of those things with toys. Do you want the goo or the bottle of the glue or goo, like the slime and stuff from He-Man, because that slime is no good. But a vintage container, pretty cool. Yeah, I would love to draw some Batman stuff. I don't always have much time to get away from the robots. Gotta play the hits people like to hear. So that's kind of how I stick with that. My childhood friend had the top of the Death Star, the gun. He had taken it off. The tip broke off, and he made a handle. And that was his ray gun. We were kids. That was his ray gun. He had a personal Death Star ray gun, which is kind of funny. I'd love to hear more about the 90s Batman toy lines. How involved were you in the Legends of the Dark Knight toy line? I ended up being the lead of that brand at the end. I did the Big Cape Batmans and Clayface and Man-Bat and a Robin and a couple of the Batman. The one had the big bat attachment and was kind of pearlized and purple and weird. I did Batgirl too, but I didn't do the deco for her. I just pitched her. So yeah, I did a lot on the Dark Knight, actually, the more I think about it. Yeah, that Death Star trash foam is almost it's 70s foam, and it's a whole different mixture, and it is just dust at this point. I haven't read enough of the comics. I would like to. I forgot to buy. I was going to buy a trade paperback at TFCon, and forgot to grab it. So I'm not up to date on it, unfortunately. I love the art. I don't know enough about Ultraman to exactly know what that collab would be. I guess it would be his silver blue patrol car thing, right? It would have to be if you needed a vehicle mode. Some Godzilla hot sauce. That's a great idea. Which Beat-A-Man did I design back in the day? I was not in charge of designing any Beat-A-Man. I was in charge of trying to create the Hasbro games and communication around the brand, while also needing to still do the stuff that it is. It was a model kit, all this different stuff. So Beat-A-Man was tricky. But so I was in charge of Beat-A-Man. A guy named John Austin did a lot of the adaptation for Beat-A-Man to the U.S. and Ham Woodhouse did a whole bunch of game stuff. Not as much me. Thanks, my Batgirl deco was better. Yeah, that was the 90s, and if you look at that Legends of Dark Knight Batgirl, she's has no armor on her legs and no armor in her midriff and on her upper arms. She's very much of the Wild Storm or that vibe of the time. My image board, which I'll dig out, she's in a full blue armored suit. I don't want to say closer to the Batman and Robin movie at all, because that will throw it all in a bad way, but more of a proper Batgirl suit. Yeah, we need to get some mini cons. That is for sure. But I got a feeling we'll know soon enough. Levi, I'm just going to be straight with everybody here. At 52, I've lived with Superman a lot of ways, a lot of times. The first Christopher Reeves movie, I watched the old black and white serials or the 50s show in reruns when I was a kid. I lived through the John Byrne years of reintroducing Superman, and then we had Lois and Clark and Man of Steel, and then all these different things, and just let alone the different comics along the way, and the death of Superman and all this. So I'm Supermaned out. I honestly, for me, I don't think these next movies will be for me. And that's fine. That is almost good, because maybe they'll do something fresh or different or new or whatever. Because I'm not going to be impressed. I can't possibly care anymore. I bought in Cavill one last time, and that was cool. But I don't know. I don't know. It could be the best movie, Superman, but for this old dude, it just, I'll just watch the old one, I don't know. It's part of this cycle where every generation does need its version of some of these iconic characters, if the characters are going to survive to the next generation, right? We talk about the Shadow and Lone Ranger and Tarzan, who don't make that progression, but somehow Batman and Superman and a few others, they do, and Conan, I think, falls into that. Conan survives, but not all of them do. Not all of them need to. Yeah, food live stream with Proto Man. Man, I looked into Pat Labor and Pat Labor stuff, and I'm like, yeah, we're not doing a separate fandom for Pat Labor. It's good enough. Whoever's doing it is doing good enough. Yeah, a modern Armada Overload. I question, are we going to see a Jetfire? Are we going to see an Overload? I mean, they start the process. You wonder how far down the road they're going to go with it. Could be interesting. Harlan Ellison's review of The Death of Superman still rings true 30 years later. I send a link. I got to know more about that. I used to love listening to Harlan Ellison rant and rave on what was the original Sci-Fi Network, I think it was called. at that point. He had a show on every week where he would just totally diatribe, which was what I feel like the best version of him I liked, because I'm not a reader, so I wasn't reading his stuff, but I like a curmudgeon-y old guy telling stories about how, he's shaking his angry fist at people. That I find that funny. I had an old dad, maybe that just, it triggers me that way. So I would be interested in hearing more about that, Sean, because my son's name is Harlan, and so I really enjoyed that old man ranting and raving. And I used to, he wrote the episode of Star Trek that I like, and everybody likes, The Edge of Forever. And there was a conference room at Hasbro that was as far to the far end of the building that you could possibly go. And I, for years, called that the Edge of Forever conference room, because you if you stepped out a door, you'd be on the back street. You wouldn't even, you would be a quarter mile from the front door of Hasbro. So it was really funny to have meetings back there. Anyway, I digress. Hey, Baron, how are you? Thank you. There's a lot of dialogue today, folks. Thank you. Well, you made sure Optimus made it to survive in the next generation. Yeah, and that's all part of it. I mean, subtly, and that's the maintaining the garden, right? Central Park or any of these places survive not because randomness. People prune and maintain and cut down and rebuild and add to, and the whole multiple generations have a park that's enjoyable for the moment, and that's how brand maintenance can be. So yeah, Optimus certainly, with the movies and things we've done, should certainly survive the next couple of decades without causing confusion. And as we get more tech oriented and more digital, a story of a robot might resonate even harder going into the future. So that's interesting too. Oh, I have no idea. Those games take so long. Hasbro was burning through the segments before they could make the games as fast as we were pumping out new storylines. So it was a little difficult for them to match up where we were with how long their development was, because we would never line up, out in that future at the same spot at the right time. Yeah, Angela Batgirl. Mostly because of that deco. If you were to deco that in all blue or black, you would not have that vibe. Is your Superman... Yeah, let's go see the glow in the dark. You guys got those combo packs, huh? That's cool. Yeah. All right, let me go get this glow in the dark here as we close it up. Let's see, I'm gonna turn the lights off this way so that my purple stays on. All right. Good measure, I'm gonna hit it with my phone. Hopefully I have enough light for you guys to see it, but also enough where it's not completely obscured. Oh yeah, there you go. So the yellow lines, the city, and the lightning is kind of glow in the dark, and this city down over here has a glow. So that kind of works. And then if I take it into the, that's hard to see. Kind of tell that it's all black light active. And so this guy, that guy pops with the black light, although a little too far away to appreciate on the screen there, I think. But pretty fun. There you go. Pretty fun. All right. Yeah, it's hard for me to tell how it actually looks to you guys a little bit. Let's see. So, we covered Red Alert here tonight. I talked a lot about Energon. Got some good things going. The only thing I picked up this week, mostly because I bought my kids some stuff, was I got the free gift book nook from Lego. So, not too bad. All right, you guys like the Unicron? Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, I got to figure out what to do with these. I've sold a few of them, but hard to appreciate them online. You know, they are big and they kind of glow and they look good and they have a lot of detail. So they're also higher end in at price range wise compared to anything else on the site. So if I can't do it justice, it's almost gonna look weird. Like, why is this guy asking this much? You know, I don't know, but you know, definitely a lot of detail. So like, this is like just debris. Like, it's the floating head from the Primus pack, believe it or not. So got those octopus kind of arms that Eric designed coming off the bottom of the head, and that's why he's got the one big green eye. So this is my version of that design. More Armada Optimus Prime artwork. Yeah, I haven't done a good Optimus. I don't know if we got some new people here. Probably haven't seen this one. This one used to be hanging behind in my old studio, hanging behind. A lot of people would have seen this one, but now it sits in front of me here. But yeah, I should probably sell this one. So, if you're interested in big paintings, if you're interested in something like that, definitely hit me up on the Aaron Archer Official Instagram, and we can talk. I do commissions. I can do the instruction art commissions. You know, they're in the, depending on size and ask and everything, they could be anywhere from $90 to up, really, depending on what you want. And I have a giant stash now of instruction sheets, which is pretty cool. And now you guys want to see what I got to finish next, now that my planets are almost done. I don't know if I've shown this one. Not sure I've shown this one. You know, one thing I wanted to do, yeah, I got a little tree. I have an idea around that a little bit. I want to put it together first before I talk about it. The Armada Megatron painting is up there. It's up there. I think it's on the website. That one might be on the website. But that one is heading towards, I think, $1,000 or more. Just the number of hours and the size and everything. So that's another thing. It's tough to find people that are into that. But I do painting instruction or commissions as well as, I do both. So the most efficient way to get art is the instructions for sure. And then if you're into something a little more in depth or detailed, that's when I do the canvas stuff. So this is my next one I need to finish up, and kind of a funny one. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. Do I need to move it? So this is my idea of world building, where it's Castle Grayskull, certainly at a different point in its life. Kind of like what happens to all these properties at the end. Where is the Lone Ranger buried? What junkyard does Kit belong to? All that kind of stuff. So, yeah. So I'm, definitely having fun with all the Transformers, and always will. But as an artist, it's kind of where my mind goes. Stuff like that. That is what's going on. That's where I'll finish it here tonight. So I appreciate everybody coming. Good to see you, Proto Man, Ninja, Little Tree. Thank you. Wind Charger, T-Formers 2002, Larry, if you're still around, El Kevo. Good to see the crew. Trying to keep it up. Trying to be a little more weekly if I can. But definitely hit me up on the Instagram. Is probably the easiest place to track me down and get answers. And if you're interested in talking art, or if I have a certain instruction sheet, or you want to work within a certain budget, we can figure stuff out. So hit me up there. And I appreciate the dialogue, everybody. I got to find that Harlan Ellison rant for sure. So with that, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon. All right. Thanks, everybody.